Hey there everyone, and welcome to complete backend development using Django. So I hope you have enjoyed so far. We have created just 4 projects, but amazingly awesome project. Every project was unique and has given you a little bit more inside details about the Django. So moving further into that, next is going to be again a project number 5. And this is a video request file here. Okay, so this is the files that you'll be using. And again, look into your exercise file. You'll find this. In case you want to use or create something like this onto your own, I highly recommend to do it on your own. So let me just show you what is that. And here you can see there are a couple of files. The main one is index.html and VR form for video request form. Okay, if I open this up and let me try to show you what it looks like. This is how it looks like. This is a video request page and it has going to be a video title, some of the text for that, then a video title. And if you'll click on this enter your video request, you can just see that there is a form here. So far what we have been doing is we have been manually entering everything in our database using admin interface. This is the first time that we will be taking input from the user, will be updating in the database, and we'll be doing the repetitive stuff, which is again displaying everything from the database. But here are the quick things about it. This is not a big thing. I highly recommend to do it on your own. We just need a form which looks decently beautiful and we'll be displaying. The concept is that people can submit their request for the videos. I make a lot of YouTube videos, I get a tons of requests, and user can submit a request to me that, hey, you should make a video on this. And once user has submitted that, I can see that on my home page here. Now here are a couple of good things that you should know, that right now this form is not behind any authentication, and usually at such situation I want to introduce some kind of authentication, maybe authentication via email, Google accounts, or maybe Facebook or Twitter or GitHub, wherever that is. But right now we are learning everything in a step-by-step process. Now putting this is a really bad idea, because you are just taking input directly from the user. They will be abusing things, and there is nothing that can stop you, or there is nothing that can trace them back. But again, this is what we want as of now. Obviously in the future we'll learn about authentication and all those stuff, maybe, and then we can just go ahead and do that stuff. Okay, one thing at a time. So this is all what we have. I highly recommend to be a little bit more creative than what I have made it up here. Okay, so this looks all good, and now let's just go back here, and again notice we have some dependencies like bootstrap, minimized file, some theme.css, and then we are having something known as VR form, styling for that form. So it looks pretty okay, and again anybody can create this, no big deal here. So let's just go back here and create another folder, which is going to be 05 project, and this is going to be project 5. Okay, so we're gonna go inside that and create a project. So let me fire up my terminal, and where is my terminal? There we go. We're gonna go into this. We have done this so many times, it should be again second nature to all of you. On my desktop it's actually Django and then 05 project 5. Okay, once I'm here I can start my admin here. So I'll be saying Django-admin start project, and I'm going to be calling it as my website this time. My website. Oops, my website looks good. Okay, I'm going to hit enter, and it should create everything really quickly. Okay, and I don't know why it is taking too much of the time. Usually it doesn't, and there we go. So it looks good, all absolutely fine. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we are going to go inside this my website. As soon as I see manage.py, what I can do is I can run this. I can simply say python 3 and manage.py, and I can first of all migrate it. Okay, let's just do that, and there we go, all it is done. And now I can create a separate app inside it. First of all, let me just open up my my editor. There we go. Then I'll drag and drop this my website here. So there we go. And I can see that. That's nice. And the next thing that we will be doing is, let me hit Control L to clean all of that. And now the next thing we'll be doing is we are going to start an app. So start app. And what we should call this? We should call this as a video request. Uh, I think video request is a too big name, but again, let's just go with that, video request. And it is up and running. Okay, looks pretty good to me. And now we can run the server here so that we can check out if everything is looking good or not. And I'm going to be saying run server. There we go. And looks pretty much okay to me. Let's just copy this and let's just fire it up in a browser to see that everything is super awesome with this nice animated rocket. Okay, let's just go back. And obviously the things that we are quite aware what we need to do. This is my video request, this is my website, this is my project. So I'll be first of all going into the settings and I'll make sure that the Django is aware of the new app that we have created. And I have called it as very long name, which is video request. I should have used a smaller name, but anyways, video request. Then we're going to go into urls.py. Now this urls.py is totally on to you how or where you want to actually have this. Now in this case, you know what, I don't want this to be as onto my base website. There can be a lot of things on my website. I just don't want it to be, okay? The reason being is that because we have seen so many projects being working on my homepage. Let's just say I'm creating an app which is not on my homepage, but is going onto a separate URL through the homepage, of course. But right now I just want it to be separate. Okay, so I'll be saying video request, and this is going to be at a URL/video request. And then obviously I have to include that. And in the include, I'll be saying this is going to be video request dot urls, and I haven't created that URL file, so obviously the next step is to create that URL. I can copy this so that it's a little bit easier for me. Now we're gonna go into this video request. We're gonna right click and create a new file, urls.py. Notice how everything is looking so easy for you. At first it was so complicated, and now it's just kind of a second nature. Okay, and this reminds me that I forgot to import include here, so a good sign there, and include, save that, and there we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get rid of this. We don't need you. And in the path, what I'll say is there will be one path for the root of this video request, and I don't need to include anything at all. I will be having two paths here. One for if I open this up, this is going to be my like home page, and this is going to be like VR form so that user can just write anything here. Okay, and obviously these two will be handled by two different views. I haven't created those views, but I would like to mention them in my URL first. So it's going to be really simple. It's going to be views dot, I'll call this as index, and I'll also give it a name as well because obviously there are links, so it will be useful for me. Index, and obviously it needs to be comma separated, and then I'll say path, and whatever the URL you would like to have this guy here, I'll call it as VR form. I know this is not a good name, but I'll go with that. Separated by comma views dot VR form. This is going to be the name of my view as well. Okay, and let's just give it a name as well, and we're gonna call this as VR form. Okay, that's it. And obviously my views are not created. Also, I haven't imported the view because they are not yet created. This is like the basic setup we have gone here, but I think that's enough. Let's just stop the video here, and in the next video we're gonna focusing on our views as well as our models as well. That's it for this video, and I'll catch you up in the next one. Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Development using Django. Now just to give you a quick idea, we haven't done much. We have just created a new project. We have created a new app named as Video Request. We have set up our settings and URL for our project, and then we went directly into urls.py. We have set up our URL patterns for this. And just to give you a quick idea, we haven't created these views yet. In fact, we haven't touched our views.py file here. It's completely like default. Now from here, there are a couple of ways that you can proceed here, and all of them are correct ways. There is no right and wrong, it's just a preference. Now from here onwards, you can either go ahead and create all of your views and just can set your templates and static files and just like that. And notice we will be working on static files a little bit different here. The reason why I have actually gone ahead and haven't created everything on the index page, because this video request is a separate app, and we will learn now that how these separate apps are handled by Django. So far we have been creating a whole project level template and all these things, but this video request is having like completely different things. So we'll learn how we can handle that. So as I was saying, there are two ways. You can just go and create your views and can add templates. That's the path one. And another path is going via the database. You can first create your models, can import them, and then you can create onto that. Luckily, they both meet at the same place, so it's totally your choice. What I'll be doing is I'll be setting up my models first, okay? Because I feel a little bit more comfortable in that. Again, totally your choice. So let's just create our models first. Of course, it is really easy. We had to create a simple class here, okay? Now, what we should call this class, let's just call this as video, or maybe video request. Let's just call this video request, or just video. I think video is a better name. And then we'll be importing models.model. Okay, there we go, our class created. Now what are the fields that you would like to have here? A video title and some description text that what should I cover in that video. So I'll be calling it as title or video title. I think video title would be good. Video title. I'll keep everything as a smaller video title, and I'll say models dot, and this should be a char field, and I think this is good. I'm choosing a char field because there should be a limit in the video request name, because you just should not be like completely descriptive in the video title itself. And I'll use a max length here, max underscore length, and that is going to be equal to, let's just say maybe 20 words, or YouTube actually allows like 50 words or so. I'm not sure. Later on we will change this, and I can tell you a couple of more good things about this, okay? So surely we are going to change that. So this is the first thing, and then it's going to be video description. I'll use a short form here. I don't want to write it completely. This is going to be models. I wrote that correct. This is going to be text field. And again, we don't need to pass any parameter here. Now let's just also create one more field here, okay? That is going to be our date here. Now if you want to add your date, it's not like that you can directly add here, or I can simply say date added or something like that. For this you have to include something in the Django as well. So let's just import that. We're going to be saying from Django dot utils, and what we are importing is a time zone. Now there are a couple of time zone variables that you can use. What we are using is date time field. There is a date field as well. So again, I recommend you to just Google it out and look into the Django documentation that what are the fields available for that. All you have to do is, let me just show you that. You can simply go on to google.com and say Django date time field, and it's gonna obviously directly take us to the documentation. Always recommend the documentation. And we can see there are field options here, and if I go a little bit down here, it's actually at these are the field types, and obviously you have to dig down here. There is a date field, you can choose that as well. And there is a date time. This is the one date time field. Obviously you can explore that a little bit. Source, these all are clickable links, so you can find a little bit more about that as well. Okay, so looks pretty good. And by the way, there's a source as well. You can click on that. You can find that how this is being implemented. Pretty good, solid, rock solid documentation. Okay, let's just go back here. We are importing time zone, and what I can say after the time zone is I can simply say models dot date time field. Make sure you pay a little bit attention there on the capitalization of the words as well. And we can mention a default there. Default equals to time zone dot now, and this time zone is exactly what we are importing here. Okay, So this is good. And in case you noticed in the previous video, we also are mentioning a method here, which is kind of a constructor underscore underscore str underscore underscore. Again, common mistake. This is not a single underscore. This is a double underscore. And we just provide a self there. And now we're going to return here. Now it's totally dependent on you what you want to return. You can simply say something like return self dot maybe video title. Title, just like that. It's gonna make that as a video title. If you want your IDs also to be returned, what we can do is command C, video title, and let me just edit that a little bit. We can say name is gonna be here. There we go. This is like a filler. This is a placeholder which we can use it here. Just give me a second. This is like a little bit hard to explain. And separated by comma, ID, and then a filler here. And there we go. Now I can use a syntax known as dot format, common Python stuff. And I can just delete this. And there we go. Obviously, it requires two things to be passed on. And the first one is self.video title, and then the second one is going to be self.id. Notice IDs are automatically given by Django. These are PK, primary keys. Remember them? IDs are given as 1, 2, 3, just numbers here. Okay, so this looks pretty rock solid to me. And what is the next step? If you do remember, yes, I know most of you said make migration and all of that, but no, this is not. The second step is you have to enroll this video here in your admin as well. So let's just go into admin.py and register our model. And let's just import that from models import video. I hope I called it video. Yes, I did. And now it has been imported. It's going to say admin dot site dot register and video. Okay, so I think this looks pretty rock solid, and I can just go up here. Has no attribute text field, and I mistyped it. My bad. You obviously pointed it out, but I cannot listen to you. Okay, here it is correct, here it is wrong. Field. Okay, looks good. Now, obviously, we have corrected this mistake, but I believe that since we haven't created these views, it is going to give me some trouble. So what I can do is I can comment this out. I can use triple quotes, and I can comment this maybe, and can just work it out. So we have done all of these things, and I think now we can just go back here, hit a Control L to clean that out. And we're gonna say make migrations, and then the app name, it should do the migration. And there are a couple of errors. These are probably because we are just having module, okay, URL pattern. Okay, since we are into this, we cannot actually do these migrations yet. So it would be a good idea if I create these forms. Actually, it's not a big deal. We can just do that. Yes, we are not able to register our model and test them out, but surely we can do the testing things later on. So the next goal is, let's just remove these guys. So the next goal is to set up our views so that actually we can register and see some of the default things as well. So let's catch up in the next video and do these views first.
Hey there everyone, and welcome to complete backend development using Django. So in the previous video, we noticed that just having a URL pattern is not working. We need to define our views as well. So we'll be doing that, but before we actually do the views, we need to import our templates as well, which I showed you at the very first video of this section. So let's just go ahead and do that. And now, so far in the course, we have been creating a folder at a directory level structure at the very root, and we are adding these files into the settings.py and all this stuff. But if you are creating a separate app which has nothing to do with the rest of the things, you can actually create and style all of your app, and you don't need to do much of the thing. So what we can do is we can right click on this video request, and we're going to create two new folder. The first folder is going to be called as templates, and the second one is going to be static. So templates, and again, make sure you call it as exactly templates, because this time we are not working on our settings.py file. This is like default directory where Python automatically looks for everything. So this is going to be our templates, and there will be another folder which we are going to call static. Now make sure, again, do watch it closely. These are the spellings that everybody does make a mistake. Okay, so now we can place our folders and everything directly in the templates as well. But what you will notice that what everybody likes to do is, I'm just following the industry standards here, which everybody does, is we're going to create a new folder inside that as well. And usually that folder name is exactly what your app name is. In this case, it's a video request. And inside that, we are going to be putting a folder. Now, again, if you just directly put it here, that's also completely fine. This is just what I'm telling you is followed by a lot of programmers, and we are following the same. And here also in the templates, also video request. Okay, and you will understand that when I'll be defining the views, you will automatically understand that this is no big deal. Okay, so now what we can do is we can separate our files. So I can go into my website. There's a video request, and there we can see we have templates and static. So first of all, I need to copy my files from the desktop. Video request file, here you will see them. And our static files are going to go here. So our CSS, theme.css and bootstrap minified, I'll copy them. And this is going to go into static. So open that video request and go into static. Inside the video request, let's just paste them. That's it. Really amazingly simple. Couldn't be more simpler. Then go back here onto your video request file. Then we need two things, index and our VR form, video request form.html. Again, copy them and go back onto your project 5, my website, video request. This is quite long. Templates, video request, and paste them here. I know we are going way much in the depth, but again, this is all really good. Okay. So now that our templates are in place, we can actually make our views a little bit good. So in our views, first of all, we need to define two, let's just work on it in a different way. You'll also see this kind of a thing as well. So now we are going to be defining our views. Now notice one very, very interesting thing that I haven't done so far is I'm using a def here. I'm defining. So you can define your two things here. Now first is going to be index. Now how this views is going to be defined, this index and whatever in your urls.py you are making this index and VR form, this is the name that I'm making. Now this is something which is kind of a coming up from the Django previous version. You can call that as a class base as well. You can define that as a method base as well, or function base as well. Both are totally great and okay. So let's just not go into much of the depth. So we are saying request here just exactly same, and there we go. Okay, and we need to return that. Now also, so far we have been using render here or HTML template or something else. Let's use render as well this time. We haven't touched that. The goal here is to understand a lot of Django as much as possible we can. So we're going to be returning render simply, and this render takes 3 parameters. Okay, the first one is request, because obviously we are responding to a request. So first one is request. The second is what template you really want to make sure that user is able to see, or you want to serve to the user. Okay, and that template is actually inside my video request slash index.html. Okay, I hope you have seen the pattern here. If we would have put it directly inside the video request or in the template, then we can just simply say index. Since we have put it inside one more folder, that's why we are saying video request. Okay, pretty easy. Now there is one third parameter as well, which is known as context. We haven't actually created that so far, so we'll be talking about that later on. Right now, let's just have just the two guys. Okay, so this is all good. Now we will be coming and defining a lot of things in the views. Let's just fill the things here right now. And now let's go here, and this is my VR form. So I'll be copying this and paste that here. Again, this is also gonna be having a request. Okay, looks pretty good. And we're gonna be returning, if I can write that correctly, that would be great. Okay, and we're gonna be simply saying render, again, 3 parameter, request, and then the name of the template that you want to say, video request slash, what did I call it? vrform.html. vrform.html. Okay, again, third parameter is again context here. We haven't created. Just to give you a quick idea, context is something which is coming up from the database. We have seen that in the past, but we'll be using it a little bit differently here. Okay, so this is our like basic view which is ready. I think now we can make our migrations here. So I'm gonna kill that. I don't know what the things are going on here. And we're gonna make migration on video request. And we are seeing name index. Views is not defined. Okay, where we are seeing that in the line 7 in the file urls.py. Okay, let's just see what we are missing here. Okay, the thing that we are missing is we haven't imported the views, so no big deal. We can just import that. I can simply say, from the current directory import views. I want to import everything from here. So I'm just saying everything, import everything. So I think this should fix the stuff. If not, we can do that. Okay, so it has done completed successfully. Now we need to migrate as well. So I'm going to be saying python 3 manage.py and then simply migrate. And it says, okay, that's a good news, good sign. And we can simply say run server. Let's just hit enter. There we go, looks pretty good. And now if I do hit reload here, we should see nothing because we are making admin and video request. Our home page is like, maybe you want to set a website here. So first let's check out our video request and see if our static files are working fine. Video request, and there we go, it's looking good. It is not able to pick up our static files as well as of now. There are a couple of reasons behind that. One of them is we haven't mentioned the URL. Right now, my index.html is saying, hey, look for theme.css or bootstrap.css, just like that. It's not going to work like that. So we'll fix that, no big deal. But the important part is that somehow we are able to get that. Obviously, this request is not going to be working because it's not redirecting it to actually good page. And if we just go to /vrform, it's going to work. But again, good news is that homepage is working. We can fix that. We have fixed in the past as well. So this looks good. Let's go into the admin and see. Okay, admin is also working. We need to create a super user as well. So many things to do, isn't it? So let's just break this video right now here. We're going to be creating a user in the next video, super user, and we'll be fixing up this by importing the template things and the URL command so that it can look for the static files at the correct place. So let's just do that in the next video. Hey there everyone, and welcome to complete backend development using Django. In this video, our goal is really simple. We want our awesome website to look awesome, loading up all the CSS. And also I want to talk a little bit more about insights of the Django. Okay, so what I'll notice you here is there is a folder name as migrations. If you'll open that up, you'll find there is a thing known as 0001_initial.py. Now, so far we haven't discussed much about these files and all these caches, but eventually over the time we'll be talking about them. So just click on that and open this up, and you'll notice that there are some database looking like queries are being created for you automatically. You didn't create them, but they automatically got created. Now, what we created was models, and Django automatically interprets everything as a database query to you. Like for example, it says its name is going to be video, the fields that you want to create, ID automatically being created. Notice PK, primary key, there we go. Primary key is true, serialize, and we didn't wrote any of that. Verbose name is ID that we have mentioned there as well, remember? And then we are having video title and all of that. Now, what happens if I change this max length to like 20? I don't like 20, maybe I want 40 here. So what is going to happen that time? Is it going to be replaced by this? No, it doesn't work like that. Django automatically generates kind of a revision files for you so that you can anytime manually go ahead, delete that, and can just roll back the previous version there. So let me show you how this works. Again, we don't usually touch the migration stuff. We always do all of our things from models. So let's just say one day decided, you know what, 20 is like little less for my user. Maybe I want to go for 30. So you can just save that. You can go back onto your terminal, kill this app just right now here, and you can simply say make migration for video request. Hit that enter. It says okay, it's done. And then you can simply say, you know what, I want you to migrate. As soon as it migrated, then you can run your server back again. Okay, no big deal. It's all fine, working absolutely fine. But if you'll notice in the migrate folder, you'll see there was a 001 underscore initial.py. Now it says 002 underscore auto and like big thing here. Now, notice it hasn't changed anything at all. It just says with dependency here means this entire file is dependent on the first one because not everything is being changed. The only thing that is being changed is this one. So that's why it's saying it here as the updated one. So pretty good thing. You have learned something like what is Django doing as an inside detail for you. Really, really handy work by Django. And it also generates a timestamp, which is actually super helpful in the real production time. Anyways, that's the first step I wanted to talk about. Let me just close this one because they are like sometimes scary to people, and this one also. Now let's go ahead and move to the next goal. The goal is really simple. Our website is not looking awesome. This one is looking awesome, but not the video request one. Let me show you that video request. Nah, not so awesome. Previously was good. So let's just go and look forward for that. So first of all, let's go into index.html and make sure our index look good. And first thing, we forgot that during the first part of the video. We are not going to do that this time. Use 2% sign and make sure this template is aware about the static. So we're going to say load static. That's the first step. And the second one is we are going to be using Bootstrap from that static folder. So what you have to say, that is actually super simple. Okay, how we're going to do that? Make sure you are inside this code. Okay, I'm going to cut that for a moment. Use two quotes, one kind of a set of curly braces. You get that. Percentage, and then you can use a command. The command is static, and then in the quotes you can simply name that. Now notice I would have called it exactly like this, but since I have kept my static file inside the video request, I have to mention that as well. Video request. And I'm doing only this because I have created an extra folder structure. Okay, so there we go. This is all looking good, and server should restart automatically. No big deal. And I can just go back, hit a reload, and notice the Bootstrap styling is working out. But we need to load our theme.css as well. So what I can do is I can copy this and I can just paste it here, and looks pretty good. We just need to end that. So use a quote here and then percent and a curly brace. Should be good. Okay, let's just see. Time will tell. There we go. Looks pretty good. Now this video request is is also not working, so we have to work out on that as well. Okay, we'll fix that. First of all, let's fix, in fact, let's just fix this. We are right now here. So right now our reference is for the VR form, but if you notice, now everything is working through the URL. So go into URL and notice we called it as VR form. This is important. Your name is important. Okay, so we'll be redirecting our view to this, and how we can do that. Go into your index.html, delete this part, and href will be going to percent, use 2% sign, and the command for that is URL. Okay, the reason why I keep saying it command, and command, because once you have used this command like URL and static, next thing should go into the codes. A lot of people make this mistake. So in the codes, you have to mention that exact name, whatever you have mentioned, the VR form. Okay, save that and go back, hit a reload, and then when you say VR request, you are redirected to this very ugly form that is fixable. So here is your challenge. Go ahead and fix this form before me. Go ahead, pause the video. I hope everybody did that, and now we are going to go ahead and do that in our own style. So a couple of enters, then we use percent signs, and then we use say load static, and again I did that wrong. I realized that, and use a percent sign. Okay, and we're going to say load static. Okay, save that. Now couple of things. First of all, this bootstrap, and even, you know what, I can just copy this line. I can simply copy them. Bootstrap, copy this, and go back to your VR form. We can just replace that. There we go. Looks pretty nice. That was one way. I know you did that manually, but that is an awesome way as well. And for this file also, I can just copy and paste that, and can change that to vrform.css. So that is going to go vrform.css. Okay, it should look good. Let's just see. Time will tell. Hit a reload. There we go. Amazingly awesome. Okay, so this video was fun. We did a couple of things and didn't screw up any time. So there we go. Looks awesome. Now the next goal is important. We have learned, and also let's just create a super user. This reminds me there. So we're going to be creating a super user, Control C, and Python manage.py create super user. Again, reminds me of Superman. And we're going to be calling it as my name. This time not full, just my name. Email address, why not? Take my information and maybe pass it to somebody who I don't like. No, we don't do that. So Hitesh, and there we go, my email. I hope I wrote that correct. Doesn't matter. My password. Okay, and it has been created. Now I can run my server, and there we go. Let's just go back to our website and see if the models that we have created are actually working fine or not. Admin, there we go. This is my username. My password, hit enter. There we go. Our videos are here. Nice and lovely. Let's just add a video. It says video title, and notice there is a date time field. Notice how beautifully the date time is being added for you. We didn't create that, but love of Django. So let's just say, what is the video title? Make Django videos. I get this request for backend development, or something like create a complete backend development course. There we go. And let's just add a please, just for fun, and we're gonna save that. And notice we are getting IDs as well this time. So that looks pretty good. Everything is working, but we are not getting anything on our index page. And just for fun, let's just create one more so that we have something to display. And let's just say make a video on interviews. Can you please make a video on programming interviews? There we go. Let's just save that. Obviously it's going to get an ID increment automatic. So now that we have two stuff to be created, it would be a good idea if we can display them on at least our home page. So that would be pretty awesome. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to be displaying that on our home page. Hey there everyone, and welcome to complete backend development using Django. So let's just work further, and what we want to do next is load up our index.py file, index.html file with the database, the videos requests which are there in the database. So obviously these two divisions, obviously we can see that are repetition. So we're going to be just looping through this guy here. And this looks pretty good. Now let's just see how we can do that. Now first of all, we cannot directly get started here. And there are too many files opened up. I just realized that I need to close a few of them. Can be a little bit hard for you sometimes. And you can get closed all of them. Now the first thing that you have to do is need to clean up. Okay, so first thing that you have to do is go into your views.py. Now in the views.py, we have to import our models so that we can pass them in our index file as well. So it's not a really big thing to do. What we can do is simply say from dot models import, what we call that, video. I think so. I need to do something about my memory. Don't you think so? In our models, yes, we called it as video. So we're going to be importing that. So now that video is here, what we can do is we are using a video. So I'm going to be calling it as videos. I'm using a lowercase. This is my variable. Call it anything. And this is going to have it from capital video, which is coming up from the model. This guy and this guy are same, and this has something known as objects, which we have seen in the past as well. But you can also just kind of a query here where however you like. In this case, you can simply say order by, and this is a very common query. Everybody knows it who knows MySQL or maybe SQL, as a matter of fact. And then you can pass on the parameter however you want to have it. So if I just say date underscore added, and added, and this date underscore added is exactly what I have mentioned here. So according to this, I want my fields to be here. So this looks good. Now that I have it, now there is also a third variable here, which is context. Now in the context, what you can do, you can pass on other things here. So in the context, what I'm passing here is, let me just show you. This is something goes like this. This is going to be videos, colon, I forgot to use quotes there, videos, and I'm passing them all of the videos here just in the context here. So videos. This is how it's going to work always like the same. This is like a common line, just like that. What we are doing is, in this context, we are passing all the objects that are being created, kind of a key value pair, okay? Let's not go into much of the detail. Just remember, this is like key value pair, okay? Nothing big deal. This is automatically being filled. And then we can just simply pass on this context here. Now this context is containing all the videos, and these videos are coming up from this video.objects, okay? So see, this goes like this, zip, this, and this. So this is a kind of a flow that I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so this looks good. Now that we have this context, we can go into our index.html file and can work out with that. Now how we're going to progress with that, it's actually really simple. First of all, I need to get rid of this extra thing. So I know this is a repetition, so I can do my repetition by my own using my loops. I'll go back here, and wherever you want to loop through, you just use a curly braces, percent sign, two of them, of course, and then you can simply say for v in videos. Okay, and notice this videos is actually coming up from this videos. Okay, so this is aware of this. Okay, I hope you get the context here. Context again, come on. So for v in videos, and then however you want to loop it, and I'm gonna be saying I'll end it here, 2% sign, and I'm gonna be saying end 4. Okay, so this is all coming up. Now this video title 1 obviously is gonna be coming up from v dot title. Again, this is holding each and every object of this videos, so I hope you get that. Okay, and this guy also, I can actually delete this line, cut that, because it's easier to generate paragraph. Use curly braces again, and this is going to be v dot, if I can remember what I called it, v dot video description. Come on, I need to do something about my memory. Save that, and I hope everything else is saved. Now let's see if our server is restarted. Yes, it automatically restarted, no big deal. And I can just directly go to my video request page, and we are missing one thing, which is our name. So yes, it is fetching everything correct, but looks like I'm missing something. It's a video title. Come on, I really need to work out on that. Video title, so it's fetching up things. Hit a reload, and there we go. Make a Django videos, make videos on interviews, and we probably can write more text, and it would be awesome. And if I go back here, this is not connected to the database, so obviously it's not gonna be working. Okay, so this was pretty fun stuff, and just for the testing purposes, I can go for the admin and can just add one more request, and I can say make video on inspiration. No, I don't like inspiration videos. Make video on students project. Yes, I do feature a lot of students projects on my channel, and then I can say can you feature my project, and I have mailed you my GitHub account, just like that. So let's just save that. It's added, and if we hit a reload onto video request, it should be available. There we go. So video request, and obviously I don't like this that my new request videos are going at the bottom, so I can just fix it quickly. I can go into my models. Nope. I can go in my views. Yes, views, and I can see I have here order by date ended, so I can just reverse that by using a minus sign here, and if I hit a reload, this should reverse now, make video on student project. So this is now reversed. So totally see how it is so easy once you do this stuff. Okay, now one more thing which is remaining is we haven't done any kind of connection with our next file, which is our inside the templates. It is VR form. Now we haven't done it because there are a couple of things that we need to learn to do that, and that is Django forms. So that's it for this video, and we're gonna catch up about the Django forms in the next video.
Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Development using Django. So now that we will be working with the forms, and forms are a little bit trickier for the beginners, but eventually as we'll be repeating the stuff, it will become much more easier for you. And of course, there are many ways to handle the forms, and we are going to be discussing one of them. So right click onto your video request and create a new file, and you have to call this file as forms.py, and make sure you notice the S there, it's forms.py. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to first of all import the forms from Django. So we're going to be calling as Django, from Django import forms. Okay, There we go. We have imported the form, and we're going to be creating a class for that, and I'm going to be calling it as video form. Feel free to call it whatever you like, and just like models.model, it also works exactly same, forms.form. Okay, and this is the class, and this is going to have a name. You can call it as video name, or it would be really good if I just call this as video name and video desk for description. And how we do that, create the form, is really simple. Use forms, and then exactly whatever the fields are available, like character field, text field, and whatever you want to call that. So this is going to be my char field. I hope I wrote that correct. Yep. And this is going to have a max field, max underscore field. Okay. And this is going to be like 20 max field. If you have used in your database 25, you can mention that 25. It's not at all a big deal. Okay, now this is our form, and what I can do here is, let me just go here, and you have to mention one more property here, which is widget. Now this widget is going to be equal to forms dot, actually this makes the form. Okay, so this is my text field. It can be char field, it can be text field. Okay, so the first parameter is always going to be form dot char field, and then inside the widget, what type of form you want to create this changes, like text field or char field or however it goes. Okay, but just by creating this, you will be able to create a field, a text form field. Obviously the parentheses are there, so you will be able to create the field. But what you will notice here that if you'll just replace our form with this form, we will learn how to do that. This form is not going to look really good, because our form, which is video form, is having a couple of other things as well. Like in this case, if I check this input form, it has the type of text, it has an ID, it has a class of form input, it has a placeholder as well. So these all things are required, and it should be placed, and we can do just exactly same like this. And I think we haven't used ID here. We don't need to use text because we have already mentioned it is a text input. So this is not required. We can skip this because we haven't used that. We will be working on with this and with this. Okay, and probably you can add this one as well, but I don't think so we need that. So what I can do is I can copy this. It would be much more easier for me. Just go into forms.py, and we'll be pasting them just for a reference. I'll delete that in a minute. Okay, and inside this text field, what you have to do is, and I mistyped that, it's not a text field, it's a text input. Come on, make it up here. Come on, I can do better than that. So again, this is going to be always char field, and then we have to type this guy as text input or text area. I hope you get that. I hope you didn't got confused here. Okay, my bad. So then we have to mention one more property here, which is attrs, means attributes. Okay, and then a couple of curly braces. Then inside in here, you can mention as many like key value pairs, as many as you like. So one is, we know that this is going to be class, and the value of this class is form dash control. So if you have others as well, surely you can mention them. If you don't have even the value for the property, you can mention just the key. That is also totally okay. Then the next one is, make sure these are comma separated as well. Then the next one is in the single quotes, placeholder, and its value is just here, name, maybe name of video or something like that. Okay, and I hope this syntaxing is also helping you out, because some people just like to write that in a long big one line. I like to divide that in a separate spaces or separate lines. It makes me easier for reading all these things, and obviously I would like to indent that a little bit so that you know, it's much more easier for me for readability here. Okay, so this is done, and then we're gonna have a video description, and we're going to be repeating this exact same thing. I hope you get that. So how is it going to work? Forms dot char field, oops, need to capitalize that, char field, and then this is going to have a widget, and then the things again. In this case, I'm looking forward for the widgets to be like text area instead of text input. That's why I'm not mentioning this max field. It's totally on you, completely on you. So I'll be mentioning a widget is going to be equal to forms dot text area. And did you notice something here that I forgot whether this area was capitalized or not? So what I'll be doing is I'll be copying it. This is a common thing, happens to everybody, and I'll be googling it. And there we go. And there we go. Okay, so I can quickly search for that, and we can see that we do have a lot of them. Yes, obviously. And okay, we have got Carfield. Come on, where are you? This is there. We are mentioning the widget here again. So, and if I can search that. Okay, let me hit Command F and then look for, oops, text area. And there we go. Text area. Let's try to search that. This is a common thing. You'll be doing this quite a lot. Okay, so we have got a text area. This is the one we are talking about, and notice the area A is smaller here. So it's always good to just look into the documentation and clear up your confusion. You will be doing it quite a lot. Okay, in this guy, okay, let's just look at for our VR form what kind of things we are having for this text area. Obviously we are having a class, and we are having a row as well, and we are having a placeholder as well. So I think we can mention all of them. In fact, we can mention the ID as well. We haven't used that in the styling purpose, but no harm in mentioning the ID as input name as well. Okay, and in fact, first of all, I'd like to mention ID equals to input name here as well. Not here. Come on, we are gonna go ahead and mention it here, separated by comma. Again, really simple. ID, no big deal. And we're gonna mention input name. There we go. I hope I wrote that correct. And input name. Yep. So now we can copy this, which is the bottom part, and we can mention these into the attributes here. So I'm going to be deleting that, and we'll be replacing that. So it's really simple. Again, we can just mention these attributes in the text area. Make sure a parenthesis is there, then curly braces, and then we're going to mention everything in here. Okay, or A-OK. I'm going to hit a tab so that everything is there in separate line, and then comma separated. So class, colon, and I can just copy and paste it. That would be awesome. Copy, paste, comma, and I'm having rows, and whatever the values are there, you can just pass on it here. So no big deal. It's just gonna just replace them as it is. Okay, so next one is ID, and that one is comment, and then the final one is placeholder, and there we go. Placeholder is comment. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so quite a lot of work just to get a form, but this is now all settled up that our form is here. Now we haven't actually worked on this form to be working on, but I'll show you a couple of differences here. Now let's just go back to our VR form, and what we can do is now we can mention a couple of things here. Okay, so let's just try to make this form up. And okay, so first of all, this form, it is having a class. It needs to have a method and action as well. So let's just have a method, and method is going to be post. Okay, and then we're going to have an action, and this action is totally where you want to take your form information. Now in this case, I want to take my form information on the same page because I'll be processing that in the views, in the same views where my form is. So I'll be mentioning a URL here, and that URL will be redirecting to my view, which is, okay, where did I mention that? Probably in the urls.py. Okay, and yes, VR forms. So copy that and go back here and paste that here. Okay, so this all information is getting here. Now the next thing that you have to do is, if there is a form, there is a compulsory thing, you cannot skip that. You have to mention the cross-site request forgery token. This is a security thing and it is a good thing, so you should always do that. So always mention CSRF. In fact, you'll not mention that. Django will prompt you to do that because it is not going to process your form. So CSR token is being added now. Now all we have to do is mention our form, okay? And how we can do that? Now first of all, we have to import this form in our views because these forms get passed through these views, okay? I think we're getting too much here in just one video. We have created the form and we have added it. So in the next video, we'll be adding it first to the views and then we'll be processing or parsing it into this VR form as well. So that's it for this video and I'll catch you up in the next one.
Hey there everyone, and welcome to complete backend development using Django. Okay, so we are on to index.html page and I wanted to show you something. Now, whenever we want to fetch something from a file, database, maybe Django, we are just saying v.videotitle because this v is coming from the videos. Now, exactly similar we'll be doing with the form as well. We'll be replacing this input with our those curly braces, and then we'll be saying like form dot and then a name and the video description and all of that. Just whatever we have mentioned, like form dot video name, form dot video desk, just like that. Okay, but just assume, yes, I'm telling you to assume, it's not an X. Just assume that this is being replaced as of now. It is not, but just assume with me for a few minutes, okay? Because it is easier to explain the view.py file here first, and then we can actually make sure and we can see everything in the action. So whatever we'll be doing in this VR form. The reason for that is when we go into the VR form HTML, we said that we'll be working on this VR form. So that's why we are doing everything in this, this view. Okay. So we will not be just directly rendering the thing, we'll be checking a lot of things here. And now comes up the interesting part. Now Django gives you a lot of things, okay? And these are a lot of new things that you'll be processing all at once, so take a time, okay? So first of all, we'll be saying if the request is coming, and obviously we have mentioned that we will be accepting the request in the post method. So we have to check first of all that the method is coming from the post. So we'll be mentioning that as a post. Okay, there we go. One thing sorted out. We have started our if condition. Now, if this is coming, we want to request these things from the form. But the question is, our form is not yet here. So we will be importing that form as well. So we'll be saying from dot forms, we want to import I call it something video form. Yes, I called it as video form. So video form, I hope I capitalized that. Did I? And where is that? Forms.py, video form. Yes, I capitalized that. Come on. So just import that form and then we can check out a couple of things. Okay. So first thing that we'll be doing is creating a variable. We'll call it as simply form because it's much more easier. And then we can simply say video form. And in that, we can just directly pass on that request. Okay, request dot post. Okay, now let me mention that here as well, that we have only taken one security precaution, which is CSRF token, but there are a couple of others also that we can actually use, and some of them are sanitizing the inputs, making customized method, or using some of the Django default ones, which surely we will be exploring in the later on. Right now, just notice here, just put a comment there that this is not the best way of doing the things. Okay, we are just processing everything what is coming up directly there. We are not worried about if user has entered some of the SQL injections or maybe XSS scripts or something like that. We are just storing everything in the database directly, which is not at all a good idea. So again, I just wanted to mention we will be figuring it out later on. Okay. Now, if this is the case, we'll be using a Django inbuilt thing, which is form. Notice this form is super powerful. You should definitely read the documentation. There is underscore valid method, which comes as a default. And you can check that it returns you a boolean. So obviously I can move further from here, and then you can simply say a variable like new underscore ric for new request for video, and then you can simply say that I want to save everything into that. So we will be saying something like this. Let's check our models, and in the models, we are saving it as a video title and video description, and we're calling it as a video. So we can make a video object here. So obviously make sure it is imported. So we have imported our models as video. So we'll be creating an object here directly from video. Okay, that is nice. Now I have two variables here. So one is video title. Make sure you say it exactly what you have called in your models.py, which is video title, and video disk for description. Copy that. Okay, so video title is going to be filled directly by request and dot post, and in the post I would be just saying it whatever you have called it directly there. So let's just see what we have called it there, and what we will be getting in our form is going to be video name and video description. So we have to mention that exactly what you have mentioned in this forms.py. Okay, so I hope you are getting the context of what each variable is known as. Okay, again, what the post is getting is not dependent on what is there in the file. It is totally dependent on this forms file. So video name is going to be there. So this is our first thing that is sorted out. And the next one is video disk for video description. That is going to be coming up from request. Okay, let me move that a little bit. Video, this is going to be request dot post, and then in the square brackets, and what we call that in the forms.py, video disk. Okay, this is very important to understand that what you're calling your each variable and from where this variables is coming up. This makes things absolutely clear, like crystal clear. Okay, so this is all done. We can hit a new line here, and rest of the thing is really safe and is easy. So new underscore request, and you can apply a method directly that is save. That means we are saving it. And also, you know what, let's redirect back the user to our home page. So we can simply say return, and we're going to use a method redirect, and we want to redirect it to index. Again, this is a URL name. Okay, we haven't imported that, so it is there from Django shortcuts, render and redirect. Okay, looks pretty good. Okay, this is all happening when the form is being filled up and all these things. But if the form is not being filled, what we can do is we can just call the method and just return an empty one. That would be good. So I'll hit enter here, go back onto this, because this is when the form is like going like that. And in the else case, okay, I can mention like form is gonna be equal to simply just video form. We don't want to fill that, but still we want form to be there. I think that's it. That's pretty much it. But okay, this is the else case. Now also, no matter what happens, there needs to be a form here. So I'll just go here and I'll add a context here. There we go. Context needs to be there. And context is going to be, again, we have seen that in the past, is going to be form, oops, in the quotes, form equals form. And notice I'm using a quote there, not equal. And just like that, we are having this, so we can have this context as well. Context, come on. Okay, there we go. Now what is going to happen, since just exactly like we said videos.videos, and then we went to our index.file and we just said for v in videos, we were able to say v.title and v.that. Here also we are going to able to see that directly saying form dot and then form.video, video name, and form.video description. So this is what we are doing. I hope it is not too much confusing. I know this is like too much of the stuff going on, but this is how you actually make the things. So let's just go back finally to our form.html and get rid of this input. We don't need you, so cut that, and just below the label we'll be adding this. Adding that is really simple. This guy is already aware of our context since we use there, and we can simply say form dot the name of the form, which, as you all guessed, I forgot. Video name. Come on, that was super easy. And this text area also needs to be gone, and we can just go up here and two curly braces, and we can say video dot, and no, it's not video dot, it's form dot video this. I think that is it. Okay, so quite a lot of stuff that we have done, and we are having an invalid syntax. Class equals form control. Okay, we are having a syntax error in the forms.py, and okay, so we forgot to delete this guy. Obviously this is going to give us a syntax error, and let's just say got an unexpected keyword, max underscore field, and max underscore field is not there. It's actually max length. I made a lot of errors, looks like that. Okay, I hope many of you have already figured it out, max underscore length. Let's just see how many more I have got. Okay, I make a lot of errors, and you know that. Okay, so this time I hope everything is running fine, and I need to walk you through with a couple of more things as well, which are easy to recognize. Okay, so your home page is running like that, and then you have a video request. You can enter the video request. Your form is looking exactly same, but it's functional. But I wanted to show you a couple of more things, that if you don't put these widgets and all these things, what is going to happen? Let me cut that out for a moment, save that, and now if you hit a reload there, this is how your form looks like. So since we have added these widgets and these attributes, that's why it is picking up all the class name. This is kind of a thing that everybody in the Django does, and there we go. And let's just say this is a new request, and I don't know what to type here. Okay, let's just submit that, and we are redirected back to home page, and this is a new request. So notice, with I know a lot of hard work, finally it has paid off, and we are able to get request here. It is getting entered in the database. We obviously know that because it's printing up here, and we can make a one more, and this is just for fun. Okay, congrats. Okay, congrats, I can type that, sure. Congrats on learning about forms in Django. You can simply say hooray, not hey. Hooray, there we go. You're super excited, because I am. And there we go. Finally, we have created an application, and we have learned how we can interact with the database. We can create models. We can even take requests from the user, can store it in the database, and can fetch it again from the database. This is a big deal. Previously, when you entered in the course, you knew nothing about it, and now you can do all this stuff. So this is pretty good. Again, before we close this video, I would again like to mention that in the views.py, there are obviously better ways. We are not sanitizing anything. We are just accepting the request, and we are just putting it in the database, which is a super bad idea, but this is a beginner phase, so it's completely okay at this point. Okay, so that's it for this video. Congratulations for completing one more project, and keep enjoying.